All right, welcome to this video tutorial. This is a cool one that we're doing today. It is a house that has a barn and also a good piece of land. I think it's on like 7 acres. So I'll show you what that kind of combination deal, how that works, because it's essentially 2 shoots in one. You're shooting the house, but then you're also shooting the land in addition to that. So I'm gonna go in here to my air map and register to the Lance. I have a 400-foot ceiling here. I'm going to go ahead and submit that. All clear to fly. Of course, we are Part 107A license. We are now registered through the Lance, and we're authorized by the FAA for a 100-foot ceiling and no floor. So let's get in here. Have a good day, sir. I'll be a couple hours here.
Okay. If I come back and you're done with the drone, is it okay? I'll park it in the driveway?
No, because I'll be doing some ground exteriors too, so I'll need the front of the house.
Okay, I'll just hang out up here then.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you, sir. So that's the homeowner leaving. He has some questions there, so it's always good to just have a great relationship with the neighbors, the homeowner. Let them know the parking in the driveway is going to interfere with the shoot, and they're more than happy to comply and say like, yeah, you know what, I'll park back here. Sounds great. Keeps everything going nice and smooth. All right. So I just did the drone deploy, which is the geological information survey of this, and that is going to make some of our settings quite abnormal because it goes in more of a manual mode. So switch over to HDR. That HDR is going to be a different ratio, so click that over. Make sure the ISO is on auto. See in video, I took it off auto. Make sure we're still in 2.7K, 60 frames a second. Auto white balance, and always make sure that you are saving to the SD card. All right, so we're going to start off in HDR. We're going to take our pictures. So every house, I always talk about having the 2 circles essentially. I'm going to click on the screen, make sure it's in focus. That autofocus is really intelligent, but sometimes it just needs a little kick in the butt to like make sure it is engaged. All right, so I'm gonna start with the house. Just work our way around this house, find the cool angles on it. This first circle around the house is really just getting those tight shots of the actual building. The realtor did mention she wanted to make sure we got the horse in there. So while I've got the horse there, in case he gets spooked or anything like that, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a little video. Kind of making that horse the center of the show. It's a really beautiful shot, and get it while you can. This horse seems really chill. It does not phased by the drone. Well, maybe a little bit. It's like he is bothered a little bit. So good thing we got that video, so we can have some horse shots in there for the realtor. So this shows this side of the house. Then we get the last side over here. Getting a lot of jumpiness from the camera connection today on this shoot anyways. Okay, so now get some good shots of this barn in addition to it. Gonna get the tight shots of this barn. Show it in relation to the house. There's a good shot. There's not much going on this side as far as a close-up shot. There's no doors or gates or anything like that to really kind of tell a story there. So I'll get this other side here. This one shows them where the door's at. And this shows them the other side where the stalls are at. So essentially that's our tight circle around the houses. So now we're going to do kind of a wider one of the buildings to show how they really link together. You see we're just backed up a little bit farther. Just kind of showing how it all connects together. We have all the close-ups already. See, we're just a little bit farther out. This is what we do on any house. This one's a little more complex because it has an extra building, but if this were just a regular house shot, say this small fence for the property, then we'd be doing this anyways, the 2 circle rounds. But since it's the land, we're going to do an extra circle round essentially on the HDR parts. It's almost like a Fibonacci symbol where you're spiraling out of it. If you don't know what a Fibonacci symbol is, it's basically a 2-1 ratio of a spiral kind of spinning out from the center. You should definitely look it up and kind of get that image in your head. Okay, so now get one more. farther back. Now we're going to start to really get the land. You see that fence line? I want them to see how big the plot of land is. And really it's the corners and the sides. And a long strip like this, you want to get a couple on the sides. Break it up into chunks. I'm keeping it kind of lower elevation with the house on it, but you can go up here and start to get a little more altitude. Really let them start to see what the plot of land looks like. So this last circle around is more about the piece of land than the house, you know. A very jumpy video feed today on this shoot. And if there's some interference out here, the video feed goes at 5 gigahertz. So sometimes if there's a cell phone tower, it can interfere with that. The communication is at 2 point something gigahertz, so that's what controls the remote. It's like we have a little bit of a storm coming in, so our mountains are not super clear right now. So I was doing the drone first. Just keep working around. Where you see a good frame shot, just take it. And I'm parked here on the end of the driveway because this is a private drive. So I've already had a neighbor come out and kind of ask me what I'm doing, but as long as I'm parked on this guy's property, there's not a whole lot that can be done about it. All right, so I think one more will be good. So I'm gonna go in and start doing some panoramas. We'll do our traditional front, back, above the roof, and then we will do, since this one's all on one end of the property, that'll suffice for this end of the property on the land part of it. And essentially what we're going to do is one extra pano for this end of the piece of property. So on these, we always want to kind of line up at the tip of that roof there. Really want to be able to see the front door. There it goes. And this one, the backyard has a really great view, so we'll do it center of that backyard with the cool 2 patios. We'll do an extra one over here by the stalls for the horses, and then a little bit farther up here to kind of show the pasture where the horses can roam a little bit up on this side. So essentially it'd be 2 extra panels that we do for compensating for the land chute because it's so conveniently located on one end of the property. Say if the house were right in the middle and there's 2 big chunks of land on each side of it, then we get kind of a extra one for each one, and then all, you know, each side of the land, and then also the extra one for the outbuildings, however many outbuildings there are. So the roof one, let's see a little chatter in our feed here. This is a good example of kind of a longer building, you know. Kind of see the whole roof, but you don't want to be too far up to where you can't see the shingles and things like that, you know. You really want to be able to do a roof inspection. So that little storm is just really right in front of us. It looks like you go north and south and there's not really a lot of storm on the way, but you know, we get this drone work done, get inside, I see a lightning bolt coming. We should be able to get good light for the inside of the chute as well before any of those clouds really reach us. So whenever you're doing these shoots, you know, always keep your options open as to like whether you can do the inside first or the outside first, and kind of time it and say like what's the best thing to do based on the weather. All right, so I'm gonna go do one for the backyard. All right, so again, we're kind of even with those second story windows, perfectly, you know, near the top side of those outside windows. So this battery's getting a little bit low. Hopefully I can get a couple more panels out of it. I think I'll get the one by the horse stalls, and I'll get the one up here, and that'll probably exhaust this battery. I may only get one more panel out of it. Again, this is kind of the boring part of the drone shoot because you're kind of sitting here waiting for all these pictures. If you have a neighbor or a realtor with you, this is kind of the time to do some small chit chat. The rest of the shoot, I'm really engaging them and showing them what we're doing and making sure that they feel like they're a part of the process as far as visually watching it. And you kind of cherry pick the shots. You say like, all right, look at, you see the mountains and whatever. Kind of. All right, we'll do that one. It looks like this one wants some more battery, so we'll let that finish off. Come land it, change out the battery. I think one thing I've noticed on hot days, so if you're in a hotter climate where it's 100 degrees, you really want to bring it back at that 20% level, as close to that as possible. In the wintertime, I can get it down 15, 17%, whatever, pretty confidently. But what I found is in the summertime, those batteries can kind of be a little more susceptible to the heat. You'll see a little bit of puffiness going on with them. So summertime, I'm a little more cautious with the batteries. All right, another battery on here. As always, turn off your battery. The reason for that is that you want the SD card to close its file. Make sure it's closed. If there's ever an open file, it could cause the corruption of that SD card, and you can lose whatever is on that SD card. So it means you're not only losing this shoot, but you're losing other shoots. And the bad thing about that is that you don't find out until you're at home, and you find out you have to go out the next day and reshoot everything. It's happened to me, so that's why I always emphasize making sure you do that. So you can see it went over to manual focus. So I touched it to go back to autofocus. See, the HDR went to 16:9 or 3.2, so switch it back to 16:9. Go through here is a great example of how sometimes it can just kind of, all your settings can kind of go back to some sort of factory reset. So we have 2 more panos to get. We're gonna do one on the end of the property up here. It lets you see so I'm inside the car, closing the door. I can still see the drone, but I don't want it to be obvious that I'm sitting here in this car. I did kind of catch in the HDR picture of this corner of the property, but I'm on a private drive, so I want to be on this person's property so I don't have any issues with any neighbors. Post can remove the car from the HDR if it's an issue with the homeowner or the realtor in any way. Ideally, you don't ever want to be in any of the shots, but sometimes you have to kind of do a risk analysis and see what's the best for the situation here. Typically I could drive pretty far and still shoot this place, but I'm pretty spread out as far as where the houses are around here. I don't have too many options. It looks like they're all private drives around here, so kind of picked this spot because there's not much anyone can say as far as trespassing or anything like that. So our 200-foot one, we're going to do it from the center of the property. Kind of see you pretty close to center, maybe this way a little bit, and kind of out here a ways, so I'm gonna go up a little bit farther. It's one of those examples on the land shoots, you can go up a bit farther, and you want to go up a little bit farther, kind of really show the surrounding areas a little more. You can see the land in more of a looking down perspective instead of having to pan too much. Allows them to kind of catch more of it with one screenshot. It's also very useful in the mountains if you're in a bowl and there's a lot of peaks beside you. And this one is essentially somewhat in a bowl. It's not a huge bowl, but it is in kind of a bowl. So, that extra 45, 50, 60 feet, whatever it is, kind of helps you look over the bowl and see around the area. And this will conclude our panoramas on this one. Or you can call it panoramic So it's going to stitch all these pictures together into one equirectangular image. It looks very funny when you see it, but when you upload it to the server, the artificial intelligence puts it together into where it reads it in a virtual reality sense. So you can look around in every direction. So we're all done with all the pictures. Now we're going to, and a lot of times you'll see there's not, you know, we're looking for peripherals, but I didn't see any like huge bodies of water. Since there's so much land, just kind of really spread out. It's all going to be in perspective of this property. So hopefully I didn't make you dizzy on that part there. So do our pan here. Do our zoom in. Do a pretty dramatic zoom in on this one. Got a lot of land to do. Put this in a sport mode. The sport mode is going to allow you to go in a lot faster. You'll see that sport mode has a little jitteriness, but they'll take that out in post. And you only want to do that on the really big kind of flights. So I'm get in this pocket here. Zoom by. See, I went up there because I know there's a tree over here, so didn't want to hit the tree, and I also want to get that barn in there. I'll show the centralization of this barn, where the horses can go from there. Then our zoom in on the front. I'm going to take it down this driveway. You can be a little more dramatic with these big chutes like this. You have a lot more space to run. I'm putting in sport mode. Again, this is, you know, for more advanced shooting. All right. So I'm going to do one that kind of gets this whole piece of land. So I'm going to bring it out here a ways. Work it more along the fence line. In sport mode, you can work this a lot better because it's such a big piece. Kind of an awkward one, but I did that because I didn't want to have my car in there so much. All right, now going to take it off sport mode, or circle around, or point of interest. Do it kind of in between these two buildings here. So our close circle around is going to be all about the houses that are there, and then the bigger one is going to be all about the land. But being on this side is a little more central on the property as well, so I can keep the same circle around for the view circle around as well. Let's get it out far enough so we're getting everything. Kind of bringing it out. That looks great. Bring it down a little bit and in a little bit. All right, now the last one's gonna be our view shot. I want to kind of get the property line edges. Really showing what a big piece of property it is. And typically, you know, the grand finale for this is going to be the beautiful mountains in the background, but we're not going to see that as much today because we have this rainstorm coming in. You can even see the shadows coming in with the cloud. It's a nice white fluffy cloud, but still it is a cloud that is messing with us. I'm going to back this up a little bit as we go down this part of it. Really show us the vastness of this end of it. So be creative. That finishes the shoot. You know, I do the same protocols every time. Just helps you keep track of it. It's all about routine and making sure you're having fun, making sure you're keeping an eye on the property, and that's all there really is to it. The more of these videos you watch, the more you'll see how easy and fun this really is. And enjoy yourself. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Have a great day, guys.